Hi everyone, welcome to Carlos Cooks again. Today we're going to be making toad in the hole. It's a lovely, great British dish that everyone enjoys, especially in the cold weather. But I'm going to give it a slight twist. We're going to make our own sausages, but very easy, don't get scared. We're not talking you have to buy hog skins and pipe sausage meat into hog skins or anything like that. This is a quick and easy way to make your own sausages. So it allows you to buy sausage meat and mix whatever you like with it, whatever takes your fancy, and then we're going to put it in a special casing that's very easy to do, and those are going to be our sausages that are going to go in our toad in the hole. And with that, obviously we're going to make a batter, but we're going to do something special to the batter as well. We're just going to stir in a little bit of whole grain mustard just to give it a little kick, something a little different. And on top of that, we're going to serve a sort of red onion condiment with it that's busy cooking at the moment. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's a slow cooked red onion, beef stock and red wine sort of condiment that goes really well with toad in the hole. So it's going to be lovely. So what we're going to start with doing is I'm going to show you how easy it is to make these sausages. Now what I've done is I've bought just some plain sausage meat that had some herbs in it. So normally you'd use that for stuffing balls or something like that, but you could buy just some plain sausage meat and then start adding what you want to it. So you can really be creative with it. You can put in what you want. And it's an ideal opportunity to utilise some of the things you've got in your fridge or store cupboard that just seem to sit there. So like if you've got a jar of caramelised onion that's starting to get past its date and you want to use it up, stir that into the pork. That'll make caramelised onion sausages. Same with Bramley apple. If you want a nice pork and Bramley apple, use your Bramley apple sauce, the chunky one. Just a bit of that stirred in to cook into it. Or you can even go further. You can sweat some finely chopped leeks and add those for pork and leek sausages. Anything you like, even mustards. So you can flavour that sausage meat with whatever you like. I'm going to show you how we're going to use prosciutto ham slices to encase that so that your sausage meat has got a skin of sorts. And then we're going to cook that in our batter and serve it with this delicious red onion condiment that we're going to make. So let's start. Now in the fridge, I've started making some, so I've made 3 of the 6 we're going to make. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to put these together. Very easy indeed. So we're going to make the other 3 that we need. So we'll stick those there for a moment. And all you need for this is your sausage meat and a pack of prosciutto ham. Now what I've done here is I bought prosciutto ham, and it normally comes with a plastic separator because it is very thin and very fine. So normally there's a plastic separator between every single slice of the ham, and that's ideal for us. That's going to make it very easy for us to make these sausages. So here's the pork sausage meat that I was using. I had about that size pack. Divided it in half and then into 3 again. So those have been filled with the 3. We're going to make 3 now. So we're using, there's 6 slices in a pack that I've got from my local supermarket, and we're going to use two of the plastic trays per sausage. So very gently just separate them and get yourself two out to start with. Right, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this off the plastic sheet onto our board. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that the side of the prosciutto ham that's got the fat layer, so you'll notice on one side you've got this fat layer, we want that on the outside of our sausage. So make sure you've got those on the outside and that your sort of plain meat side is on the inside. And then very gently peel it off the paper, very gently because it is very delicate. It is like a sausage skin, really. It's almost translucent. And lay it on the board, flat. And the other slice as well. We just want to overlap them slightly. So just like that. Okay, and then next we get some sausage meat, and this has been flavoured with sage and onion. So it's got everything in it I need for convenience sake. but obviously you can season it and flavour it with whatever you want. So you just want a sausage-like portion of it in the middle of your prosciutto ham, and then we're just going to fold the sides slightly in just to cover the ends, just like that. Very similar to if you're making a tortilla wrap where you bring the sides in before you roll it. And then it's just a question of bringing that first sheet over the top of the sausage and tucking it in, and then finishing it off by just rolling it. And that is it, that's all there is to it. I'll show you that again. So another one. Just have to be careful when you're getting them apart. Now, in theory, I should have... Oh, there we are. There's another 2 slices in there for the last one. So same thing again, fat layer on the outside. Slightly overlapping. And then your sausage meat parcel in the middle. Bring in the ends. The last one. This one's on one sheet on both sides. Where are we? Okay, fat layer on the outside there. It is very delicate, so you do have to go very careful. This one's got a slight cut in it, so we're going to have to bring that back and down. It's not come off the meat slicer very well, that one at the factory, but it'll be alright, we can save it. Now, if there are any vegetarians or vegans watching, you're probably thinking, oh, it'd be so nice if I could do this and make my own vegetarian filling for these, but the Parma ham, what can I use instead of the Parma ham? Well, they're making great sort of roads in the supermarket industry and doing a lot more sort of deli meat sort of style things for vegans and vegetarians, and I'm pretty sure if you looked in your supermarket you could find something to replace the Parma ham, some sort of vegan soya sliced version or whatever, and then that would help you with the skin problem. Now for the filling, what I would suggest, once again from my local supermarket, I've got a pack here of gluten-free nut roast. So you can make this up with hot water to a stiff consistency, add whatever flavourings you want to it, and that could go inside your vegetarian casings wherever you get them. And there are quite a few different sort of vegetarian fillings you can get in the supermarkets nowadays that will give you your base, you know, that you can put your flavour in. Right, so we're going to just give those a little bit of colour. So I'm just going to turn the pan on. And we're just going to put some olive oil in there. And we're just going to start giving these a little bit of colour just to firm them up a little bit. And then we'll put them to one side and they'll go inside our batter mix. So, a pair of tongs, which we're going to start next. While that's just heating up to temperature, I'm going to put the oven on, ready for the toad in the hole to cook. 190 degrees Celsius, so let's get that preheating to that. And the toad and the whole batter mix, once we've put these in, once we've given them a bit of colour, will take about 30 minutes in a 190 degrees Celsius oven. Obviously you'll need to check it, some ovens are slightly quicker than others, so you really just got to look at your batter and just make sure it's not going to burn if you leave it in too long. And there are a variety of things you can do. You can get individual large sort of Yorkshire pan trays. I've got one with 4 in. If you're just doing 4 individual ones, they're fine. Or you can do the large tray. If you've got a very shallow metal tray that you can do the toad and the hole in, they're ideal for, you know, doing 6-8 sausages in and a load of batter mix. I'm going to use 2, well, they're basically cake tins, 2 of these. So I'm going to put 3 sausages in each one and cook that batter in that. These really take the heat on well, and they hold the oil well, and they'll help that toad in the hole batter to rise nicely in the oven. Now on the back stove here you probably see something simmering away, and that is the red onions that I'm cooking. So once we've got the toad in the hole in the oven, I'll bring that over here and I'll show you what I've done to make that and how long it's taken, and we'll take it a bit further. But first of all, let's just get these in. So I'm just going to put the side with the seal in first. Parma ham cooks up lovely, just goes like bacon, so you know these are really going to be lovely. If you're a fan of bacon, you're going to like these. So just let those start to take on a bit of colour. So next thing is to get the batter mix done. Now, I'm not going to tell you how to make batter for toad in the hole or Yorkshire puddings. There are so many recipes on the internet by various different cooks and chefs. I suggest you have a look at all of them. Find the one that suits you best. I'm going to be using Merry Berries mix because I've used it before and I know it works. It's a very simple one. It's just enough for these two is 75 grams of flour, 1/4 of a pint or 150 mils of whole milk, and 2 eggs and a pinch of seasoning, and of course a teaspoon of whole grain mustard. We're going to stir in just before we put this in the oven. So sift the flour. I've got some weighing scales here that we can reset. Set to 0, 75 grams of plain flour. Just checking the base of these just to make sure they're not cooking too much. They're all fine. So 75 grams. And then into that, 2 eggs into the middle. I've got medium eggs here. That's already beginning to smell lovely, that is, just as they're cooking. Let's just make sure that we can turn them over a little bit. It's just starting to colour, so we're going to try and get a bit of colour on both sides, and then we'll just turn it down and let them But as you can see, they hold their shape perfectly. So that Parma ham is the ideal thing to use as a sausage casing. Right, we're going to whisk those eggs up slowly into that flour, but we want first 150 mils of milk. Ideally whole milk. So 150 mils, quarter of a pint. Just check my oven's heating up all right. Yep. And the onions are doing good. So now we're just going to break these eggs and just slowly mix them into the flour. And once the eggs have mixed into the flour, then you start adding the milk bit by bit. Just a little at a time, get those all mixed together. Bit more. We just want to get all the lumps out, get a nice smooth batter. Have another look at these. And what I will probably do is try and turn them onto their sides now and just pile them up against each other like that, and this will allow us to get some colour on the thinner surfaces, the edges so to speak, and then we'll do a bit on the other side, and then that'll be it for those. Oh, smelling lovely. The Parma ham's got a lovely flavour of its own, and you'll find it will go with that little bit of whole grain mustard that we're going to add to the batter really well. A little bit more milk. Try and get some air into the batter mix, it all helps. Last of the milk, and then we're going to add some seasoning. Just some ground sea salt, just a few of those. And the same with ground black pepper. Now the good thing about batter mix is you can make this well ahead of time, hours ahead of time. You just keep it in the fridge and just give it a beat up before you use it. So if you want to save yourself some time, you can do that ahead. So that's fine, we'll stick that to one side. Let's just give these a bit of colour on the other side. They're going to brown up even more in the batter mix. Now, a few years ago, well, I say a few, maybe a bit more, I did have a go at making my own sausages, and I've got to say it was a lot of fun. Just buying, mince from the butcher at the right grind that you wanted, I used to order hog skins online because they were the best for doing it. They're a lot stronger because some of the other types just split so easily. Then I had a small sort of hand-driven piper that you would fill the tube with the mince and then turn the handle to pipe out the mixture into the hog skins. And I did come up with some really lovely flavours. You know, it was great to be able to experiment and find out what you could come up with. All sorts of sausages I made, caramelised onion of course, and even Guinness. I've tried Guinness sausages, pork and apple, pork and leek. The difficult part of it is getting them all tied nicely like the butchers do it. I'll never get the hang of that. But you used to make those, put them in the fridge, leave them for about 3 days to sit before you cooked them or froze them. They would benefit from sitting for that length of time. There was a sort of bread type rusk and seasoning that you used to add as well that I could get online. So you know, if you want to go that far, experiment as far as that and use the Parma ham as your casing. Right, these firmed up sufficiently now. So let's turn that off. I'm going to put our cake tins into the oven now so they can start getting up. The oven's up to temperature, but we want to really get these hot. So I'm just going to turn it up to 200 degrees Celsius. I've got just about a dessert spoonful or a little bit more of vegetable oil in the bottom of each of them. And you need to put this into the tray and put it into the oven and get it smoking hot before you put your sausages and your batter in. It has to be hot to kick that batter up. If you don't do that, you're not going to get a good result. So I'm going to stick those in now on the top rack, and we're just going to leave those in there at 200 degrees to get really hot, and then we're going to put the sausages and the batter mix in, and hopefully they'll start cooking and rising, and we'll keep an eye on those while we finish off our red onion. So let me tell you about the red onion sauce that I've made. It's over on the hob here, very slowly cooking. You can see it there. Now what I've done with this is I took a large whole red onion, and you'll probably see in the bottom right hand corner I've shown you a picture of how I sliced it, cut it in half and sliced it very thinly. That went into the pan with a little bit of oil, and I put it on a high heat and just sort of stir fried those onions to break them down just to the point where they were starting to caramelise. They weren't taking on colour, but they'd softened and were starting to sort of smell a bit sweeter. As soon as that happened, I made 400 mils of beef stock up, and I used one of these sort of gel based beef stock cubes that you can get from the supermarket. On the packet they say 500 mils of boiling water with that. I used 400 because I wanted this to be quite intense. It's got to have an intense flavour to it, so a little reduction in the water in that. And then what I did is I added that beef stock very slowly to the pan while stirring the onions, bit by bit, just covering the onions, and let it cook on a sort of quite a heavy simmer until the stock had been reduced down, and then added more stock and then more stock, and just kept going until all the stock was used. So those onions that I just showed you have been cooking in the beef stock. They've absorbed it all and reduced around it, so it started to caramelise the onions, it started to thicken up around the onions. And then we switched to the red wine. So I got a little tiny bottle of red wine, and now you do the same process. You keep it on the simmer and you add that red wine bit by bit. Glass and a half is usually, or 2 glasses, small glasses is enough. So I'll probably add the rest of that. And once again, we've got it on a high simmer, and it's just going to cook that into the onions until what we're left with should be sort of very similar to a caramelised onion chutney. So it's going to be spoonable, but still have a little bit of juice in it. But the onions will have caramelised and soaked up the beef stock and the red wine, and it will taste amazing. I can't take the credit for coming up with that. A friend taught me how to do that, and I've been doing it ever since because it is lovely. And if you don't like red onions, you can do it with normal onions. It'll come out just the same. So I'm just going to give that a stir. Sorry you can't see, but I'm just checking it to see how the liquid element's doing. So I'm going to add a little bit more red wine into that. Just to cover the onions, and then we'll let it carry on. So we'll just give it an increase in heat. I would do it on this induction hob here so that you could all see that cooking, and I will transfer it in a minute, but it's not ideal because I'm not 100% sure the pan is induction suitable. I have used it on there before, but we'll do it the majority on the gas hob. Let's see how our pans are doing. Nice. They're coming up, but they're not hot enough yet. You want it almost smoking in there. Once I put them in, I'm going to turn the heat down from 200 to 190, and that's what the batter mix will cook on. So we'll give this one more final stir, and then we're going to put a teaspoon of the whole grain mustard in. Just a little teaspoon like that. Just mix that into the batter. And the whole grain's nice because you get those mustard seeds sort of throughout your batter as well. So right, so let's clear some of this away so we've got enough room to show you, because it's I'll put half that batter mix in each tray. And 3 of the sausages. Use the oven gloves for these. A little bit longer. We want the oil to just catch a bit. So let's separate these into 2 groups of 3. They smell delicious. You wouldn't think cooking Parma ham, but it's, you know, it's essentially bacon, so you can do, and it's ideal for this. And you could even be lazy and just buy normal sausages. You know, we're really spoiled for flavoured sausages in the supermarkets today, and at our butchers. So, you know, if you want to cut some corners, just get a normal sausage and wrap the Parma ham around it, or prosciutto ham, whatever you want. And just, you know, cover your sausages in it. It just gives a different flavour and texture to the toe in the hole. Right, let's see if we're about ready. Yeah, I think we're there. So I'm only going to take one out at a time. It's extremely hot, as you can hear it popping. And it'll probably sizzle as soon as I get these in. Yep. So I'm just going to do them in a sort of star shape so if they fit in. Actually, no, we'll try and get some space between them like that. And then half our batter. And then straight into the oven. Don't worry if you get a little bit of batter over the top of the sausages, that'll still cook fine and crisp up lovely. Last one in. And that's it. We're not going to open it now. 190, 30 minutes on the clock. We'll obviously check it a bit nearer that time to see that the batter's cooking nicely. We don't want to take it too far. Okay, let's transfer this now onto here and we can finish these off. So, manual. There we go. So we'll have a look at this now. We'll have a little taste to see how well it's doing. Now, if you were serving 4 to 6 people, you'd probably use 2 large red onions for this. I've only used 1 for now, because there is only me. I'm going to be eating toad in the hole for some time this weekend. So we're just looking for this to bubble away, and we're going to add more and more red wine to it as it does so. And I'll continue to do this until it's finished, so I'm just going to keep adding the red wine as it reduces, and then once it's absorbed all the rest of the red wine, I'm just going to turn the heat off and just let it sit and rest, and it will benefit from that. And then we'll take a short break and we'll come back to you, and hopefully the toad in the hole will be ready to come out of the oven. So we'll see you in half an hour. Hi and welcome back. Well, the toad in the hole's been in the oven now for just under half an hour. I'm just going to take it out and check it now. I've finished off the red onion sort of condiment gravy that we've got. That's thickened up lovely, taken all the red wine in. So we'll be drizzling that over the toad in the hole in a minute, so we can get it out of the oven and let's see how it's done. So I shall put that there. Ooh, there's the timer, bang on time. Leave one in there, we'll just take this one out for now. So the batter could have done with puffing up a little bit more, and maybe that was because I didn't have the pans and the oil hot enough before I poured the batter in. It definitely could have done with a few more minutes, but with time constraints you've got to carry on. But it hasn't come up too bad. It's lovely and crispy. So let's get it onto the plate, and then we'll do a taste and see what those sausages have come out like. So let's try and get it out with the egg lifter. With a bit of luck it hasn't stuck greatly. Sometimes it's best just to leave it out the oven for a little while just so it sweats a little bit, and then you can get it out onto the plate, but we'll try nonetheless. I have to come out in 2 pieces. It certainly smells good. one of those, quite a large portion I know with 3 sausages, but it's not too bad. Okay, so this has finished reducing. You can see how it's thickened up. We've got a sort of gloopy red onion, sort of almost a chutney, but there is a little bit of juice there. So I'm just going to drizzle some of this over. It is lovely. It's like a lovely sweet sauce. Let's just try some of that to make sure it's okay. Well, it's really intense. It's first off, it's beefy because of that stock, but it's not overpowering. It's not horrible. It's just a lovely savoury taste, and then you get the red wine. All the alcohol's burnt off of that red wine, so you've just got the flavour of that red wine, and then the onion underneath. Now you'll see it comes out as a very fine shredded sort of sauce. I did cut the red onions in half before slicing them very thinly. If you prefer a more chunkier version of that, I wouldn't slice them so thinly, and maybe even leave them in rings rather than cutting the onion in half before you slice it. And then you'd have, you know, a bit more sort of consistency to it. But let's finish that off with a little bit of parsley, because I've got some left in the fridge that I need to get rid of. Just a little sprinkling. Let's get rid of this so we can try everything and see what it tastes like now. Okay, so let's cut the sausages open first and just have a look inside and show you what they are like. Skins are quite nice and firm. That Parma ham's firmed up lovely. If we look at the sausage inside, look at that. Absolutely perfectly cooked. So the prosciutto Parma ham has, done wonders as our sausage casing. And it's come out lovely. So let's take a slice of that off, and we'll put a little bit of our caramelized onion chutney. So many flavours going on there. The sausage has been nicely seasoned with that sage and onion, and obviously you get that, but the Parma ham's got a beautiful flavour of its own, nice strong flavour that complements it really well, and with the red onion on it, beautiful. So let's try a bit of the whole grain mustard batter. Just put a little bit of chutney on that as well. Oh yeah, it's all going to go well together, that. Just a hint of that mustard in the batter is lovely, but it all goes together really well. So have a bash at making your own sausages. Get yourself some Parma ham or prosciutto, and get inventive with the flavours that you put inside that sausage meat and wrap up in those. And then a little bit of mustard or whole grain mustard in your batter mix is going to make a hell of a difference to it, and it's beautiful. I know the red onion condiment does take a while to cook because you're slow cooking it and you're reducing it, but it's sacrilege to cover your Yorkshire pudding in just gravy. I think something different like that is beautiful, and it goes really well with it, and it's just a different taste. It takes it to a whole new level. So definitely have a go at that, because that's come out lovely, and I'm going to enjoy eating the rest of that. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and you know, as always, if you want to be notified when I upload new content, click the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. And it would be really nice to know, you know, if anybody's watching the videos, enjoying the videos, if you have any comments or queries or anything you'd like to see me cook, use the comments section and get in contact. It'd be great to hear from you. Okay, so I'll see you next time.